Cheryl Creasy?
I prefer Stone.
So, like a nickname? That's
what my people call me. Can we talk straight? You gonna help me out, or what?
Just talk, that's all. And then maybe we both get what we want, okay?
All right! Free man walk in there!
I'd like to stay on my currents if I can see him through the review. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Talk about what got you here. You want to tell me about that?
It's right there in front of you. Why do you want to talk about that again?
Because now you're mine.
You write what you're going to write.
Hey,
let's just get on
Stone.
with it. I'll see you outside before you see me.
Stone! You want to walk out of here? You will go through me. You got it?
Yeah.
Then sit down.
I need you to get with him in person.
I would do anything for you, baby. You know that. Officer Mabry, I'm Stoney's wife.
You're here to see your husband? I don't want you to get your hopes up.
I just want him home. Jeff,
Who is it?
I was just wondering when we could get together.
Look, I admire that you love your husband and you want to do what's right for him.
I do love my husband, and all I'm asking you is for a chance to help you see him in a different light. Can I persuade you?
Sin comes naturally. It's inbred in us.
Blessed the Lord.
You lose your place. So Jack said,
Call him Jack.
sure.
Why do you get to walk around free and I don't?
I wasn't convicted of a crime.
You never did anything bad.
Nobody can know about this.
And too scared to die?
I think it's some kind of plan.
This is the trailer
See both of them.
for the film that we welcome this young lady in to talk about. The film is Stone. It's in limited release. Milla, could you please pronounce your...
Jovovich! You were right the first time! Milla, you know what Milla was in that trailer? She was casually sinful.
Yes, she was.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, it's being talked about, Milla, that this is a breakout performance for you, which is funny because you got so many films under your saddle already. But now, let us ask.
Like 25 years later, and like, great. Awesome.
Now,
I finally broke through, or broke out.
Now,
my skin's okay.
how
It's getting better. I have broken out a little bit.
how was it for you knowing that you're stepping into a film with Robert De Niro and Edward Norton?
You know, it was definitely nerve-wracking for my audition and everything, but I had so much support from Edward, who really lobbied for me to get this part and get the audition. And, you know, once I got on set, you know, it's such a special script, and not that many dramas get made, you know, in Hollywood these days. So it's a very special movie. And I just wanted to do my best to bring the character to life and to do justice to an amazing script and an amazing cast. So I kind of put it out of my head a little bit. But
Well,
in between takes, it was like, oh, darn, that's Robert De Niro. Wow. That's pretty cool.
Well,
but once they said action, you know, my character kicked in. So
Well, we're a huge Edward Norton fan. He's one of our greatest actors, and he said about you in this movie, he said, quote, I think anybody will be I think he meant everybody. I think everybody will be quite shocked. She's going to get awards for this. I'm confident. She was really amazing in this. Now, that's from Edward Norton. Now, Robert De Niro, he's a hack. We know that. But Edward Norton...
No, Edward is just such an incredible, intelligent, well-spoken, just unbelievable, and very generous actor. You know, he gave me a lot of support and a lot of great advice on how to work with Bob because, you know, he had done a movie, they had done a movie together, and he said, you know, it's really important for you to keep your process intact because, you know, you could talk to Bob about a scene, and then once it comes down to shooting it, he'll do something completely different from what you talked about, and it can really throw you off because, hey, it's Robert De Niro, and his kind of body of work kind of precedes him into a room. So, you know, you suddenly get all insecure and start taking things personally. It's like, don't take it personally. You got to keep your process intact because you're amazing and you're here for a reason. And, you know, all of us just have to do our best. And it was wonderful. But I think Edward and I really put poor Bob through the ringer on this one because he was like completely, you know, verbally confusing him in the prison, and I'm seducing him on the other side, and you know, it was definitely a hard role for Robert, I think, to play.
Now, Milla, is there something to this as an actor? Like, if you're an average tennis player and you play an above average tennis player, your game will more than not rise to the occasion. Is it the same as an actor when you're playing opposite your Edward Nortons and Robert De Niro's?
I think that's a really great question, and I think it goes beyond acting. I think it goes through every part of your life, that anytime you are with people who are better than you and smarter than you, you learn and you get better. You know, what's that old saying? It's better to be a lackey among kings than a king among lackeys. Mm-hmm. You know, and I mean, it's pretty much saying it's better to hang out with people who are better than you and be silly and stupid than to be the smart one with a bunch of idiots. You know what I mean? So, I've always felt that, and the more that you just want to learn in life, the more that you want to educate yourself. You got to hang out with people that are really smarter than you and better than you. And with this movie, I mean, I learned so much working with such incredible icons, really, of our generation.
Well, Milla, we'll come back to that, but the area that I know you're from is your Resident Evil films, because there's nothing better than a hot chick in leather chaps with a gun. It's just good stuff.
We have a lot of fun. I mean, I'm so proud of Resident Evil, and both my husband and I sort of look at it as our first baby. It started as this tiny European action horror flick that was very much a fringe movie, and then sort of snowballed into this wonderful franchise. And we're just so proud that people love it and the fans adore it.
Well, you do them well. I mean, you take that premise and you do them about as well as you can do it.
Well, I really, I buy into it. It's something like, for me growing up, I always was such a fan of like She-Ra, Princess of Power, and Thundercats, and Kung Fu theater with my dad every Sunday, and I always wanted to sort of be a ninja warrior in my life, and this really gave me the opportunity to train with the best people and do amazing stunts, and so I really believe in the world when I'm in there shooting, and I think people see that. I mean, the great thing about Resident Evil is that we've always been so lucky to work with amazing actors who really love the games and really are there to make a great movie. It's not like about bunch of divas on set. It's always really cool people, really talented people, and really supportive of the franchise.
Well, this is how talented you are, Milla. Now, I've been a fan of yours since The Fifth Element. I thought you were remarkable in that. So I know your work, and I enjoy your work. If you're in it, it's a better product. I didn't know that was you. This is how good you are. I didn't know that was you in Zoolander. Oh, my God. I figured that out. I saw it on... She was in Zoolander. Who was she? And then it hit me. Oh, my God. That was you.
Yeah, that's funny. I love that part. I'm always like, are they going to make another one? I want to play Katinka again.
They should.
But I mean, nobody really knew it was me. I mean, even Ben and I were talking, going, is she a man or a woman? Maybe we should just leave it open,
Yeah. Well, Milla, I want to go back to something that Brian said, which is true, but it's even beyond that. He said that Edward Norton is one of our finest actors. This guy, and tell me if this is true, I had heard that when Edward takes a role, that he is allowed to take the script and totally work it to where it's coming from, because he is all about story. Every word must be placed properly.
Yeah. I mean, do you know what? Edward and John Curran, the director, and Angus McFadden, the writer, they pretty much worked on the script for almost 2 years.
Wow.
Before it got made. And, because it started off being a pretty cut and dry thriller, and Edward didn't want to make that, and John definitely didn't want to make that. And, I know Robert as well was very supportive of them finding something more to these people. And why are we going to make this movie? It's not just to make some thriller about a woman seducing the convict's parole officer. I mean, it suddenly turned into a movie about epiphanies and decisions, and what are you projecting to your community and to your spouses and your friends and family. And it's one thing, and then in your head there's something completely different, and the sort of gray areas that people have, and the movie turned into a film about these really complex and sometimes very flawed characters. And I think that's directly related to Edward and John really working so hard together to make a movie that was a bit more ambiguous and leaving a lot of questions, to be answered at the end, and not kind of tying it all together in a pretty little package for an audience, or spoon-feeding information to people, but really leaving it open for discussion. I mean, it's really one of those films that, I've had a bunch of friends tell me, we went to see it and then we went and had dinner afterwards just to talk about it. And
yeah.
Because you kind of have to make decisions yourself, and what do you believe, and what do you relate to or not, and why are these people the way they are, and it's beautiful performances.
Well,
really
cannot wait to see the film. It is called Stone. It is in limited release. When does wider release come, Milla?
Well, I think a movie like this, because of the nature of the material, it is a psychological drama. It's not, an easy sell for people. It's not a big action movie. It's not a romantic comedy. So, it's one of those things that word of mouth is going to get it out. And the more people that want to be challenged in the movie theater, that really are interested to watch something that has depth and has real emotion, I mean, they're going to go see it and tell their friends about it. And hopefully it'll spread out more,
So what do you want to go see tonight? You want to see Stone or Jackass? I don't know. I can't.
Well, it's definitely a different type of film, and I have to say it really does depend.
Sure.
It's competing against a bunch of big movies, so it is something that you probably want to see to be in a more quiet mood,
right.
To be in a more reflective mood, and not want to see just like a big, bonanza, big roller coaster ride. We've had so many roller coaster rides this year. It's time to calm down a little bit.
Milla, this is the first time we've spoken, and you know what you are? You know what you are? You're absolutely delightful.
Oh, thank you. Well, you guys are great. Thank you so much.
Well, best of luck with this, and hopefully Edward is correct. You'll find yourself busy during award season.
You know what? It was just such a pleasure to be able to be a part of this movie and the script, to work with Edward, to work with Robert and John Curran, and to make this movie, to bring these characters to life. So anything that happens is a cherry on top. So I'm just so proud to be a part of it.
Well, congratulations, Milla. We thoroughly enjoyed our conversation. In limited release is Stone. Go check it out. Milla, have a great day.
You guys too. Thanks so much. Bye, everybody.
Thank you, Milla.
She
was absolutely. I don't think I've ever said that about anybody on the show because it's a cliche. She was absolutely delightful.
Well, let me tell you, I if you're looking for a mindless fun, I mean, Milla wearing leather chaps, she lives in a different kind of world, and she's badass. You would enjoy them. They're just nothing but fun. Resident Evil.
Okay,
you would enjoy those movies.
Not gory or
no. It's I know what you like. You would like this.
All right.
And she is gorgeous in it.
I'm telling you, she's just unearthly beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah.
All
and
right.
that personality too.
Yeah, she was fun, wasn't she?
What a package.
Yeah.
And now we'll never forget. It is in fact Jovovich.
Okay.
Now
I've already forgotten.